Welcome back to the vlog. This is Civic episode number 4. If you guys were tuned in, you guys saw us finish off with some fabrication on the front end on our V-mount, radiator, and intercooler setup. We're gonna continue where we left off there. This is our radiator from Track Tough here. It is a beautiful part, but we're just welding on a couple little bungs so that we can mount our intercooler onto the back of the radiator as third and fourth mount for that. So ain't nothing to it but to do it. Burn some welds, Ev. Today we're actually focusing on the turbo outlet and the intercooler end tanks and piping. Where we're getting started is with our drive-by-wire throttle body. Now this is a Subaru BRZ drive-by-wire throttle body compared to a Ford throttle pedal. So it's just a 6-wire system, so it all works together. So the nice thing is K-Power recommended we run this, and we're pairing it with these new Mishimoto quick release clamp assemblies. Now these are something that's new on the market, we're told. This is the clamp itself. This is the coupler here. It has an O-ring on each side. And what it allows you to do is mount one of these rings on each, either a pipe, and as we're doing here, a drive-by-wire setup. You put everything together and you sandwich it with this clamp here inside, close it down, and lock it. And then you've got, the pipe can have some play and vibration resistance versus a hard mount, or it gets you away from a rubber coupler.
No more worm gear and
rubber
clamps
couplers,
that blow off. Man, if I had these on the U36, I know I wouldn't have that problem.
One thing I will say about these Mishimoto clamps, Ev, is I know some of the other ones on the market that I've used have a detent pin that pushes in. Now the issue with that is like I've experienced at the dyno where we're rushing to get something done, you pull everything apart, and if you aren't careful, you can lose those pins really easily.
Okay.
So this is a really cool setup where there's nothing to lose here. It's all self-contained and spring-loaded. So really nice part from Mishimoto. Cool to see them enter the market into this coupler space. Let's not wait any longer. Let's get this thing welded up, Ev.
What are you doing?
Right now I'm messing up some aluminum. Just kidding. Making the end tanks for the intercooler, which you guys have seen me working on, but I'm just trying to get everything buttoned up now so we can start trimming all the piping out and stuff. So this is gonna go there. This is our end tank. Just gotta build a cap for the back side here, and this is gonna go straight to our turbo, and we'll build the same thing with a little bit of variation on the other side. All right, well, we went ahead and got everything tacked up and in place. That's how she's looking. Got a nice alignment with our turbo outlet. And then what we'll do is we'll mimic the same shape on this side by using another one of our J-bends. And then we're gonna have a real short run to our throttle body. One thing I saw in the comment section after the last video was, wow, that's a waste of space, a waste of time, blah, blah, blah. Why would you do that on a Civic? This is an RX-7 thing. And the reality is it's actually not an RX-7 thing. It's just RX-7 guys adopted it because they have the room to do it. Pro race cars use V-mount setups that allows you to run shorter charge pipes. You're not running a bunch of piping down underneath the front bumper and around the other side. So you're eliminating, I think you're eliminating 3/4 of the intercooler piping from going from a front mount to a V-mount. So it's less weight, less time for charge air to get in and out, as well as it looks way cooler.
right, so Mickey got the end tank all fabbed up, and I just finished tacking everything together. So now we're going through and figuring out where we're gonna put the blow-off valve. Now we're gonna have a 3-inch pipe here from the throttle body that's gonna go.
A 1-inch flange from K-Power that's gonna shift the BRZ throttle body over to the left a little bit. This would actually be kind of hidden if it were here, but we've got a 10 with this vacuum line. I honestly vote for underneath. That hides it away. This is kind of cool because it looks purposeful.
Yeah, I like that.
I almost feel like this is a good spot for it right here.
Yeah. So all this is important to do before we weld the intake to the actual intercooler, because we're going to be drilling in this. We're going to get shavings everywhere, so we really have to make this as kind of its own part. I'll probably finish weld everything, and we'll kiss this edge one more time on the belt sander so it's nice and flat. Once we get this all mocked up, then we'll be good to go to finish weld everything and finish off the rest of the intercooler pipe. That's a lot of f***ing welding. Delivery for Michael Andrin from Ricky's favorite place, Mishimoto. We got the rest of our clamps in.
Dang!
We got everything we need. These
2.5s and 3s, right?
2.5s and 3s. Beauty. All in black.
Nice.
Woo! Take a look at that. That's looking nice. This stuff's welding really nice. Got my settings dialed in. All right, so we've got the intercooler now completed minus the final welding. So we just welded on the last Mishimoto clamp right here. And this is gonna be our charge pipe that goes direct to the turbo. And then on this side is the side that connects to the throttle body. So everything's just kind of tacked, nothing's finished welded. What I'm gonna do is tomorrow, when I pick up the camera, I'm gonna clean everything off really well. And we're gonna finish this thing up. Let's check in with you guys tomorrow.
So this morning, I stopped by Oceanside Driveline. These guys are the ones that actually made the drive shaft for my 8086 Corolla that had the F20 Honda engine in it. And so they're really familiar with the S2000 drive shafts. I went ahead and grabbed the factory S2000 drive shaft to show you guys. This is what it looks like. It's very short. You can see how much longer we've actually had to make the drive shaft to make our S2000 transmission fit our S2000 differential. This is almost 52 inches in length versus like 30. Pretty interesting. They use Spicer joints to put this together. And as you can see, there's a slip yoke up here that's got a Zerk fitting on it. We've got the same flange, the same style flange as an S2000, but with actual nice U-joints. So very happy with the way this turned out. He said this should be rated for about double the horsepower we're gonna be making. And man, this thing looks too pretty to put underneath the car. But this is a track car. We went ahead and ordered up these Technocraft headlight replacements, and these are basically a carbon fiber headlight cover replacement. You don't actually run a headlight behind these. These actually replace the headlight. We went ahead and got an air duct version for the passenger side, and we got just a regular blank out for the driver's side. And what these do is they basically just fill the hole where your headlight would go, It looks cool, it matches the carbon theme we've got on the car. Ricky's gonna go ahead and shoot some matte clear on these while we're at it so they match the hood and all the rest of the carbon on the car. Other reason for adding these is they save a little bit of weight. These things weigh nothing compared to an actual headlight. And the fact that we're not gonna be driving this car as a street car, this is a really cool addition. It's also gonna supply some very cold air to our turbo, so definitely a bonus.
Alright, so just finished up welding a new V-band flange. This is the first time I've done stainless steel in a long time. It actually turned out really good. The one that was on the manifold was not the right size for the turbo, so we got that all squared away. And now I think the last thing, or second to last thing we need to do is we need to see if we need to weld this fully around or if we need to cut and make an adjustment.
I think we'll weld this because then we'll make the adjustment here.
Okay.
We'll make an angle on this because we can just run this through the sander. Okay. And make it nice and flat at whatever angle we need it. We gotta get the manifold back on the engine, get this mounted on the manifold, and then we can figure that angle out, and then we can weld the flange on. Hey, we're making intercooler pipes.
Yep.
Alright, so while the boy's been welding over there, I finished the satin or the matte finish on the headlight replacement covers. So done. And the radiator is painted as well. It is currently drying. It's gonna sit here for about another hour or so, and once that's done, then we'll probably try to play with it in the car. Mickey right now is finishing the texture on the intercooler. Once he's done with that, I'm gonna grab it and paint it black like everything else.
All right, here we go.
So before we put any paint on this, which we are planning to paint it black, we want to make sure that there's no boost leaks. So we're going to run our smoke tester on it. If any smoke comes out of anywhere, we know we have a leak and we need to fix it. So
throw it in.
Better to do this now before we paint it.
I thought paint seals it up.
To a certain extent.
What do you got here, Quinn?
What's that?
What do you got here?
Well, this is our smoke tester.
Don't even think about it, Quinn.
That shit.
Dang! Still got it.
Dog, we ain't done.
Woo! Look at that.
I think you should be good. All right. Throw some paint on her, dog. Right, I don't see any smoke coming out anywhere.
Dang. We have a no smoking policy, Quinn.
That's a bad dad joke, dog. So as you can tell, this is not our radiator. This is actually a vintage air conditioning condenser. So essentially a small radiator. And it is the same size as our radiator itself. So it's gonna flow a lot of air through it and it's gonna help keep the interior of the car nice and cool. Now, one thing we had to do, and what's cool about the vintage air stuff, is it comes with universal brackets. So what I was able to do is actually chop up some of their universal brackets, and Evan's just welding up some that are gonna mount here to our radiator stays. So as soon as Evan's done here, I'm gonna throw a little bit of black paint on this vintage air condenser core, and we will be good to mount this thing back in the car.
A little later.
Well, I just went ahead and tossed the condenser in. There you can see how we did our mounts. The bottom is also mounted on isolators down here. So that should suit us just fine.
World's shortest intercooler pipe.
Yeah, so this is actually gonna end up being our intercooler pipe with another one of these, a 3-inch on this end. So this will slide in here. This flange will be welded onto here. Evan's gonna go ahead and throw a tack on there to make our straight section made up to our elbow to the turbo. And then we can get everything sized up, make sure we got enough play in the pipe itself, and get her welded up. So we're modifying the throttle body a bit because this is very tight radius. The throttle body is actually lower than our clamps. And that's kind of the downfall of this clamp system, is you need to take into account the height that these are gonna have once they're sandwiched together. So what we're doing is putting an angle on the throttle body, and then we're gonna put an angle on the pipe connector, and that'll allow us a little bit more height and a little better angle to get in here. Because it is so tight, I mean, this is the challenge of having these intercooler pipes so short. We're trying to do this as clean as possible. Intercooler piping. Sick.
You want to try the hood before we do it, or you want me to tack it first? Oh no!
No, it's good. I bet you there's an inch.
Inches.
Oh! Woo!
Oh, there's room. Gotta cut that off.
Or
Okay,
just
okay.
fillet it.
So 2018. 16? Sorry, what's 2021?
Ricky stayed late last night and threw a couple of coats of paint and clear on our intercooler piping and our turbo housing. I went ahead and just threw it all back together using our Mishimoto quick clamps. Man, you know you nailed the alignment and fitment when your clamps do that. Holy cow, that's amazing. And what's really cool about these is the engine can move, and check this out. So as the engine moves, it's not torquing on this, which is hard mounted here to the core support. Like a rubber coupler would do, it takes up the movement and the absorption of the energy of the engine moving on its mount, and it doesn't break your intercooler, which is awesome. The sheer amount of welding time that Evan put in was probably a day's worth of work in itself, just getting all this stuff finish welded, all the work that Ricky did to get everything painted black and clear coated for us, and then all the fab time that I put in just to get everything ready for all of their work. And then also we were able to get our vintage air condenser, and now that that's in, we can start hanging the dryer and getting all the components put in the car and start making the lines. So we're gonna move on to the next system. We hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned, we'll have the next Civic video coming very soon because we are full speed ahead on this project and we're not stopping until it's done. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Hit that subscribe button, leave us some comments down below, and definitely leave us some thumbs up. We really appreciate it all. We'll see you guys in the next one.